So again, I think I need to elaborate a little bit more. Sometimes I feel like I'm simplifying this whole process a little bit too much. Calorie counting does work. And it's disheartening when I search around YouTube now trying to see who else is talking about this subject. And way too frequently I see a lot of the most popular videos are people trying to tell you that calorie counting doesn't work. It's very depressing to me because I think for a lot of people, this may be the only thing that might work. But I do think I'm maybe guilty of making it sound a little bit easier than it is. It's a lifestyle for me now. But it is something I had to get used to. It's something I had to adapt to. It's something that I rebelled against the first few times I tried it, because I understand when people who aren't used to tracking their meals or tracking their calories, logging their food as they go along throughout the day. It sounds daunting. It sounds like a pain in the ass. And it is at first. You may find that it's like, oh God, when you're first getting used to it, you will forget to log things, and that will be stressful and annoying, but you get used to it and it becomes second nature after a while. I will say the only time that calorie counting has quote unquote not worked for me is when I've stopped doing it. It's like any other diet. Adherence is the biggest issue. Any diet where you're reducing your caloric deficit through any means, whether it's cutting out carbs or cutting out fat or cutting out alcohol or keto or paleo or intermittent fasting, all these different tricks that people have come up with. In my estimation, they're all just ways to arrive at a caloric deficit that's going to help you lose weight. It doesn't matter how you're doing it. In the long run, what matters the most is, can you keep doing it? You can't just turn around and stop doing what works and expect to hold on to your results and to continue making progress. It's not going to happen. It does make me happy when I see people on YouTube defending calorie counting. James Smith is a YouTuber I discovered recently. There's a video I found where he's watching a TikTok video from some doctor saying just outright that calorie counting doesn't work. And he refutes it quite vigorously in the video. The one thing that James says that I don't really take issue with, I just would offer with a caveat. He's of the mind, and I used to think this too, that calorie counting and meal tracking can be a means with which to form new habits, but you don't have to keep doing it indefinitely. And he has this metaphor where he talks about you're tracing over something to kind of get a feel for it. And then eventually you get good enough that you can draw it without the tracing paper. Yeah, I get that. And I used to believe this myself. I think, oh yeah, I got this, I've long since accepted the fact that I have to keep doing this indefinitely in order to hold on to the results, because I've let go of the reins, and I know what happens when I let go of the reins. It's a slow process. Yeah, I may behave myself for a certain period of time after I stop logging, but it won't stay that way. It just won't. I admire the people who can do that. It's just, I would not advise anybody. If you think that you can get by without doing this after a certain period of time, good luck to you. The good news is too, if you do stop and you realize that you're gaining weight, you can always just start again. So there's that too. Every which way you look at it, there's always room for mistakes. The biggest mistake that you can make though is believing all these idiots out there who say that it doesn't work. They're wrong. They're just dead wrong. I really feel sorry for the people who believe that bullshit. It's just common sense. You eat too much, you gain weight. You eat less and move around more, you lose weight. There are very, very few exceptions to this rule. And frankly, I think most people who have problems with calorie counting, they're either not logging thoroughly or they're just not keeping up the habit. Calorie counting is essentially a way for you to moderate your caloric intake, but it's also a tool for forming new habits. And that can take time. And everybody's going to find their own path to what works for them doing it this way. And that's why I say it's freedom. You get to decide what works for you within this framework using these tools. You can take advice from other people like me if you want to, but you really kind of have to figure this out on your own. And it's a process, but it is worth it. I found it is so worth it. Again, I weigh essentially 188 now, down from 228, a little bit over 10 pounds left to go to my goal. And there was a time when I thought that before I started doing this again, before I started using Lose It and tracking my meals consistently, I thought I had some kind of hormonal, imbalance that was preventing me from losing weight. No, the only thing that was wrong is I was still just eating too much. It's about forming new habits, and you will establish a healthier relationship with food. I understand some people just don't want to go there, but I have bad news for you. If you don't want to go there, you're not going to have a whole lot of success doing this. You have to be brave. That was a very rambly video, but I kind of felt like I needed to say something about that. Thanks for sticking with me, y'all. Bye.